Hello, imaginary creature lovers. I hope you've had a good week, and I hope you enjoyed the last video that talked about a little bit about all the Greek gods. And you know, the Greek gods have Roman counterparts to them, so we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. Now I have a story that I'd like to read to you today, and I'm going to share the screen because I have some pictures to go along with it. And this story has some of the characters that you learned about. It's going to have Zeus and Poseidon and Athena. So let's get to our story. Here we go. Long, long ago, when this old world was a very young place, and when the few people there had just begun to live together in groups for their own protection, the great gods selected the place for humans to build their cities. They looked down upon the earth through the clouds that shrouded their homes on the very peak of the high mountain called Olympus. And they chose the sites they thought would provide everything mortals needed to live and to prosper. Now, each god and goddess was eager to have a great city built in his or her honor. And so the prime locations, the very best places for the great cities to be built, came to cause much bickering and jealousy among the many deities. For all wanted a great city built in their honor, a city whose peoples could worship that particular god or goddess above all others. It happened that great Zeus, the king and ruler of all the gods, had found a spot on earth that appeared to be absolutely ideal for the building of a noble city. So there you see Zeus and the city that he's thinking would be great to build. Indeed, he foresaw that the city would be built there and would someday become the noblest city on earth. Well, you can imagine that all the gods and goddesses wanted this city for their own, and you would be right. But the two who wanted it the most of all were Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and Poseidon, the god of the seas and rivers. Now, Athena was one of Zeus's daughters, so you might expect, in fact, she was the favorite daughter of Zeus, and you might expect that her father would honor her request, but Poseidon was Zeus's brother, and Zeus didn't want to disappoint him either. So Poseidon appealed to Zeus, saying that this location would provide the city with the greatest natural harbor in all the world, and it would be destined to be a great seaport. Therefore, as god of the sea, it was only right that he, Poseidon, should be its chief god. But Athena argued just as earnestly that the greatness of this city would not lie in its commerce, that means in selling goods and trade, but rather in the respect of its people would someday have for art and learning. As goddess of wisdom, therefore, she should be its guardian, and she should be the person that the city was named after. Zeus at last decided upon a way to end this quarrel and to choose fairly between the two. He called for a great council to be held at the very site of the new city, and there, with all the gods and goddesses arrayed before him, Zeus spoke from his golden throne in a clear, commanding voice. "Listen," he said, "to the will of Zeus, who judges now between Poseidon and Athena. The city that is desired by each shall bear the name of the god that shall bring forth from the earth the better gift for the mortals who will dwell here. If Poseidon's gift be judged more useful, this city shall be called Poseidonia. If Athena's gift be deemed better, the city shall forever be known as Athens." Upon hearing this, Poseidon arose, and in all his majesty, he struck his trident. That's the long three-pronged spear that you can see right there. He struck his trident hard into the ground right where he stood. The earth shook violently all around. At last, a great crack opened up in the surface. Out of this steaming chasm leaped a horse, a magnificent horse, his powerful white body fully arrayed in battle gear, like none that they had ever seen before. Behold my gift, said Poseidon, and call the city after my name. For who can give these mortals a better present than the horse, which will ensure their protection from their enemies? But Athena, who looked steadfastly with her gray eyes at the assembled gods, and she stooped slowly down to touch the earth where she stood. She said nothing, but continued to gaze calmly on the great council. Presently, they all witnessed a small shoot growing from the ground where Athena had touched the ground. It grew swiftly and in minutes had sprouted thick and luscious boughs and leaves. Higher and higher it rose until green fruit appeared on its clustering branches. My gift is better, O Zeus, than that of Poseidon, she said. The horse he has given shall bring forth war and strife and anguish to the people and the mortals and their children. But my gift, the olive tree, is the sign of peace and plenty and health and strength and the pledge of happiness and freedom. It is not more fitting then that the city be founded here and should be called after my name? Then the voices of the gods rose in the air as one. The gift of Athena is better by far, for it is a token that this city shall be greater in peace than in war, and nobler in its freedom than in its power. Let the city be called Athens forevermore. Hearing their appeals, Zeus then bowed his head as a sign of his judgment that the city should be named for Athena. The earth trembled as he rose from his golden throne to return to the halls of Olympus. Athena stood gazing over the land that her victory had given her, and she decided that it was here that she would make her home. Here, she said, my children will grow up in happiness. They will come to understand that freedom is the greatest gift a people can receive. And when the torch of freedom has gone out in Athens, it will be passed on to other peoples in other lands around the world. So that is the story of the gift of Athena and the story about Athens. And here you can see that this is the Acropolis in Athens. Acropolis means high city. And this is the Parthenon. And the Parthenon is a temple that the Greeks built to honor Athena. So it still stands today, centuries and centuries later, and many, many tourists go and visit it every single year. And you can see this is why Poseidon was wanting it to be called after him. So that's the story we have for today. I hope that you enjoyed it. I have a game and the link down below. If you click on the words, there are some blue words that talk about a game that you can click on. So if you want to click on those, I can't remember exactly what the words are, but it talks about a game. And so there are blue words. If you just click on that, it goes to a game that you can copy. And then you can practice some of the names of the different Greek gods that you learned about this week. And it's a spinner sort of game. And then it's sort of like bingo with a spinner. And so if you want to, you can then do that. And I think it'd be kind of fun. You could use pennies as markers to cover up the little spaces, or you could use anything you want. You could use little red hots. You could use M&Ms. That would be kind of fun, because then when you get done with each round of the game, you could eat them. I think that would be kind of fun. So however you want to do it, feel free. But if you try out the game, let me know. See how it goes, okay? Or you could just play bingo any way you want to, and let me know if you write up your own questions for it. You could write your own questions and then use one part of it for that. But let me know how you like the game if you try it out. All right, I hope you have a good week, and I hope you liked the story. If you don't want to play the game and you just want to tell me if you liked the story or not, I'd love to have you post that too. Okay, see you next time. Bye. Oops, I always forget how to do that. Bye.